Hello and welcome back to the Gematria database. I'm Keith Wise, also known as Wisecraft. This is the second rendition of the orientation of the database. Today we're focusing on the color key legend. So if you click color key legend after going to the database, this is the meaning behind the colors and how they can be used to keep track of the themes and sum of words and phrases, to remember them in a hermetic way so the patterns can be seen more clearly. And if you look, each one is marked for understanding what everything is as you go. So as you see down here where it says pink, you got the reduced numerology sums or date numerology sums, which are both pink, which is referencing anytime there's just a singular number. But sometimes it's going to be a date number, and sometimes it's going to be just a word number, which means that it's going to be a reduced number from a date or a reduced number from a word after decoding. As you see, this says 1, semicolon 2, whoops, F, 1, T, and then SOD 1, right? So as you look up here, F equals Fibonacci number. So then we know that that's 2 Fibonacci number and 1 Fibonacci number. So it's the first and second Fibonacci number. And this is the way to see it symbolically without having to like write it out over and over again. As you see, 1T is triangular number. So 1 first triangular number. And then SOD equals 1, which means what? SOD, sum of divisors. In the future, as you're decoding and you're going through the database, you may want to keep this on the side, this page on the side of the other page, opening a different window, and then you can scroll around back and forth until you memorize what equals what. And eventually, you won't need to use this anymore because you'll have it all in your mind. Here's podcasts explaining how to use the code and different relevant uses in the past, how to break down stuff on your own, and communicating with different people on the subject with different perspectives, with different examples throughout history, in order to either copy yourself so you can see how the process is done, and then work on different stuff on your own that has not even been decoded yet. So I'll go down, I'll explain each of the themes, and then go back up and explain what they mean to each thing. So as you see, you get to, these are all pink, which we know are those, but then you have this one here, it's like 12, right? Why is that 12? Why is that 12 blue? Well, then you go down here to the blue, and you see it has to do with time clock theme. Which is a psychological operation number. So we know that 12, and that makes sense, right? Because there's half of a day is 12 hours. And that's associated with a clock, and there's 12 like numbers on a clock. So then you have 15, right? Why is the 15 orange? So then go down to orange, and oh look, orange says symbol words and sums, acronyms, postal codes, abbreviations, personal names, and people, Pythagorean gematria, simple English ordinal gematria, assassination numerology dates, strange mathematical properties, repeating primes, phi, pi, and circle theme. So we know that, what do you call it, 15 is going to be one of these. It's going to be connected to that. So it must be like a prime or a phi or something like that, right? And then you have 13, and obviously 13 is in the purple. So 13, boo, doo, 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 boom. You see that it's a 7th Fibonacci, the 6th prime, and has the sum of divisors of 14. Why is 14 red? Well, let's go check. If you check the red, it says it's negative words and sums, assassin and killer names, satanic connections, reported bombing events, death lesson dates, death, sacrifice, killing, murder by numbers theme. So it's a death number. Interesting. So anyway, then we have purple, which is Saturn words and sums, failed events, Masonic theme number patterns are as follows, and these are basically repeated numbers that the Masons seem to like for various reasons, and they use them over and over again, like in different scenarios. When you decode them, you'll see these numbers pop up, more so than other numbers. If you see these underneath here, they're separated by categories. You have the prime sum of divisors, the Fibonacci prime sum of divisors, the Fibonacci triangular sum of divisors, triangular sum of divisors, and then square root sum of divisors. So every area of color coordination is separated by these categories in order to see what connects to what by what mathematical scale. Yellow is occult words and sums, historic names, historic people and associations, reported weather disaster events, established dates, research information, and data. And then it has the 666 beast system revelation theme for the numbers. If it's highlighted, it's the 666 beast theme. And that means they show up a lot associated with different scenarios representing that beast system. We kind of went over red already. We kind of went over orange already, and notice that orange is also separated into separate categories. You have the sum of divisors of those, which are repeated in these. You have the sum of divisors of these, which are repeated in those. And the reason that is because these 216 equals 6 times 6 times 6, or backwards, the other way around. 6 times 6 times 6, or 6 cubed, equals 216. So it's a backhanded way through math to associate with the beast system, or the beast theme. Then 144, that's a time relevant connection, time clock, because there's 1440 minutes in a day. And then you have the 314 circle pi theme, and 360. Then there's just the sum of divisors, the prime sum of divisors, which is the load. Then you got the Fibonacci number sum of divisors, triangular sum of divisors, triangular perfect number sum of divisors, root number sum of divisors, square root number sum of divisors, factorization sum of divisors. And what I mean by factorization is they're just special factorizations that are interesting, so I put them there. If it's something that's green, it's going to be government words and sums, government names, or people in the government, presidential event dates, life lesson numerology dates, or when people are born, Jewish gematria, English gematria sums, New World Order ritual, and propaganda theme. And then you have those numbers that follow, which are sum of divisors and prime number sum of divisors, triangular number sum of divisors, which show up that are green, representing those themes. So understand, if it's these colors, it's going to represent those themes. And that's based on like actually doing research and connecting it to those themes, not just calling it those. I'm not the one that put those themes on there. I associated those themes because they seem to be out there. Dark gray, quoted information, book titles, movie and film titles. Gray is random words and sums, names and words in multiple categories, train, accident, crash, incident events, or dates, movie and film release dates, dualism and racism theme. Random number patterns are as follows: sum of divisors, prime number sum of divisors, square root number sum of divisors. And then you got blue, which is psychological operation words and sums, actor names, mind control connections, space, NASA, and time theme. And dark blue, which is entertainment associations, music bands, singers, shooting, attack events, and then time clock theme, sum of divisors, prime number sum of divisors, Fibonacci number sum of divisors are as follows. Then you have the light blue, which is connected to the sports stuff. So then you got sports related words, you got athlete names, people, you got team names, you got sport event dates, automobile attacks and crashes, and you got the reduced and reduced reversed and reduced ordinal. I'm sorry, reverse reduced and reverse ordinal sums, gematria and beast numerology connections and correlations, and then the rig sports numbers are as follows. You got light brown for airplane accidents, crashes, incident, event dates, and then you got regular brown for the funeral, burial, memorial, event dates, or unknown themes, like that I can't figure out. They just repeat over and over again, but I can't figure out why or where they fall into place. Even the research doesn't really help me figure it out because they're not so frequent, but they're frequent enough to show up. Eventually I'll pinpoint them, then they'll go into different categories. But for now, this is where they're at. When I see them over and over again, I'm like, oh, that number seems to show up again. I'm going to make that brown. So, if anybody has any idea where these go in categories, they can help me by sending me an email at wisecraft@gmail.com. Thank you for your time. That concludes our orientation on the color key legend. There will be more to follow next time.